In memory of the fighter-turned-statesman, they came from all corners of the world.
Though we no longer hear his deep and booming voice, it is he who has brought us together again here in word and deed for peace.
The turnout was reminiscent of the outpouring for Anwar Sadat or John Kennedy. One by one, world leaders shared their sorrow at the assassination of Јицхак Rabin, the taciturn soldier who had somehow become a friend to all.
As long as I live, I'll be proud to have known him, to have worked with him, as a brother, and as a friend, and as a man.
Especially tragic that it was death which finally brought the King of Jordan to Jerusalem officially for the first time in almost 30 years, and Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak here for the very first time. Each of the speakers made a plea that the push for peace continue.
Only through our unwavering commitment to this objective can we truly honor the memory of this fallen hero of peace.
And the citizens of Israel on this day were less surprised than grateful, philosophical that so many of such stature had come so far.
In a time of pain and sorrow and such a deep division within the people, the fact that the leaders of the world came to identify themselves with our pain is of great value.
So many states have pronounced that. This is all because they appreciated him and they know what he's done for peace in the Middle East.
The U.S. delegation was more than 100 strong and packed with leaders of cabinet and Congress. The tributes, the attention of the world, was clearly a source of pride. Still, at times it seemed Israeli grief was something to be borne alone, worked through. One mourner hoped the pain might eventually prove redeeming, that the Prime Minister's peacemaking in life might somehow be equaled by an ability to unite in death. Claire Shipman, CNN, Jerusalem.
Prime Minister Rabin's interim successor saw a glimmer of hope in Israel's day of anguish. Acting Prime Minister Shimon Peres laid a wreath on the coffin of his fallen friend, and he called the gathering of world leaders Јицхак Rabin's crowning glory.
We salute you completely. A fierce warrior that brought his people the victory. A great dreamer that created a new reality.
Mourn with you in the loss of your leader. And I mourn with you, for he was my partner and friend. Every moment we shared was a joy because he was a good man, and an inspiration because he was also a great man. Leah, I know that too many times in the life of this country, you were called upon to comfort and console the mothers and the fathers, the husbands and the wives, the sons and the daughters who lost their loved ones to violence and vengeance. You gave them strength. Now we here and millions of people all around the world, in all humility and honor, offer you our strength. May God comfort you among all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem.
Throughout the night, Israelis visited the Rabin gravesite. Some left flowers and pebbles, a traditional Jewish mourning custom. Throughout the day, diplomats from around the world honored the memory of Mr. Rabin with a minute of silence at the United Nations. The Prime Minister's widow, Leah, described the final moment she shared with her husband at the hospital where he died. She said, quote, "I asked to see him. I said I must say goodbye. They told me it would not be easy, but they did it for me." Mr. Rabin to stop him from giving Israel to the Arabs. He was ordered held in custody for 10 days pending indictment. His brother, Јigal Amir, was also arrested. He allegedly provided the bullets used in the assassination.
On to Mount Herzl in Jerusalem, where so many fallen in Israel's wars are buried, a man fallen in the fight for peace. Јицхak Rabin, who first as a teenager fought in Israel's war of independence, who ended his life with a dream still in progress, peace in the Middle East. His grieving family, wife, children, grandchildren, and Israelis his larger family, who lived through so much with him for generations now, and from just about everywhere else in the world, 86 countries. The mourning of old friends.
The American people mourn with you in the loss of your leader, and I mourn with you, for he was my partner and friend. Every moment we shared was a joy because he was a good man, and an inspiration because he was also a great man.
The sorrow of newer friends, King Hussein of Jordan, with whom Јицхak Rabin ended decades of war.
He had courage. He had vision. And he had a commitment to peace.
Commitment the world now awaits from those Јицхak Rabin leaves behind. No one in Israel can replace him. His legacy as a soldier, what made it possible for his countrymen to trust him as a peacemaker. A long life cut short. A long struggle still just beginning.
The crowd paid respects to Mr. Rabin at the Simon Wiesendahl Center. Governor Pete Wilson declared Monday a statewide...
Let the sun rise and give the morning light.
This is the paper.
Do not whisper a prayer. Better sing a song for peace. He added, Yitzhak, we already miss you.
Yitzhak Rabin's coffin was carried before presidents, prime ministers, and kings. A cantor intoned, "O God, full of mercy," but none present was spared an overwhelming sense of grief. Throughout this tragedy, Rabin's wife of 47 years said, "I hurt." The slain prime minister's family clung to each other. It seemed so small a coffin for so large a man. Sirens cried out. The pain of the moment was felt by all. Yitzhak Rabin, the great warrior of Israel, was dead. Hosni Mubarak made his first visit to Israel to salute Rabin.
The untimely loss of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin at this important juncture in the history of the Middle East has dealt a severe blow to our noble cause.
But Israel's new Prime Minister, Shimon Peres, affirmed the cause of peace is irreversible. Peres said, "I see our Arab neighbors, and I want to tell them peace is attainable, both here and with you." The President of the United States used the moment to urge Israelis to exorcise the demon which killed their Prime Minister.
That if people cannot let go of the hatred of their enemies, they risk sowing the seeds of hatred among themselves.
It was a remarkable gathering. In the audience, Arab sheikhs and Palestinians who later became Yitzhak Rabin's partners in peace. But the most moving tribute came from Rabin's granddaughter, Noah. "You are my private hero," she said. "I pray a convoy of angels accompany you, that they may look after you always, because," she added, "you are worth it." The Prime Minister's longtime friend, Eitan Haber, mourned his mentor as well. He showed guests the blood-stained peace song that Rabin was carrying in his pocket when he was shot. An honor guard then carried the slain Prime Minister to his final resting place in Israel's Mount Herzl National Cemetery. And Yitzhak Rabin was buried alongside Israel's other immortals. But his spirit as warrior, statesman, and peacemaker seemed too strong to die. Walter Rogers, CNN, Jerusalem.
Gaza, home to more than 1.2 million Palestinians, seemed on the surface oddly removed from the drama being played out in Israel. Its streets were jammed with people, its border links closed for security reasons.
These last hours of news above ground.
But as Israelis bid farewell to a fallen son, many Palestinians watched the drama from a distance. Among them was Yasser Arafat, who appeared shaken by the loss of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin.
Yes, because when you lost a friend and a partner, and he is not only a friend, no. He is a partner with me to make the peace with the braves. And not only for our two peoples, the Palestinians and the Israelis, but the whole area.
Palestinians listened intently as world leaders pledged unanimous support for the peace process, a process they hope will give them their own land, security, and a better life.
As we are Palestinian,
We need the peace process to continue.
Many voiced relief that it was a Jewish extremist and not a Palestinian who gunned down Prime Minister Rabin. But they noted the extremists on both sides want the same thing, to sabotage the peace. In his office, Yasser Arafat said there could only be one answer.
To be more quick in the peace process, and to implement accurately and honestly what had been agreed upon.
Arafat insists that the majority of both Israelis and Palestinians want peace, and though threats against him continued on the day of the funeral, he vowed that he, like Rabin, would not back away.
This is more important than anything else. And for this we are ready to sacrifice our life for the sake of our people.
Hatred and violence between Arabs and Jews seemed as inevitable as the tides for centuries. The legacy of Prime Minister Rabin may be that along these shores, the tides could finally be turning.
Rabin's confessed assassin stood in a Tel Aviv courtroom and told a judge that God aided him in the killing. Quote, "I did this to stop the peace process. We need to be cold-hearted," unquote, said 25-year-old Yigal Amir. The judge ordered the Israeli Jew held another 10 days pending indictment. In a separate hearing, Amir's older brother admitted altering the bullets used in the killing, packing them with iron pellets to increase the impact. 27-year-old Haggai Amir told the court his younger brother asked him several times who to kill in order to stop the peace process. He also said he knew of his younger brother's 2 aborted attempts to kill Mr. Rabin. The judge ordered him held another week. Police are trying to determine if the brothers, who were known to have connections with right-wing settler groups, acted alone.
Focused on a peaceful path? CNN's Ralph Begleiter reports.
The prompt decisions by Egypt's President Hosni Mubarak and Jordan's King Hussein, among other Arab leaders, to attend Rabin's funeral in Jerusalem reflect a mood among many Arabs to avoid a collapse of the peace process. In one of the last face-to-face meetings with journalists, Rabin told me less than a week ago that he was determined to go ahead with negotiations with Syria, despite their controversy among the Israeli people over return of the Golan Heights. Syrian President Hafez Assad did not send a delegation to Israel for the funeral, but a government newspaper in Damascus announced Syria's intention to persist with the peace process and called on Israel to move quickly despite the Rabin assassination. A very senior Syrian official told me in Damascus just minutes before shots killed Rabin that both Syria and Israel need an agreement, that an agreement with Syria is simple enough to complete in less than 3 months, and that Syria and Israel should not, quote, dwell on history. Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak, representing the first Arab nation to make peace with Israel, told me privately just days before the assassination, Israel should not give Syria any excuse to back away from negotiations. Mubarak said he repeatedly asks Assad not to let an historic opportunity for peace with Israel pass. But the assassination of Rabin, apparently by an extremist, could be interpreted by the Arabs as revealing the depth of opposition to the peace process. That interpretation could put peace talks on hold or set them back, especially on the future of Jerusalem, even more sensitive than the compromises which apparently prompted Rabin's assassination. Arabs and Israelis may reconsider whether they can really begin negotiations about Jerusalem in just 7 months as currently scheduled. Acting Prime Minister Shimon Peres, despite his intentions and hopes, may have a hard sell to convince the Arabs now that he can not only make commitments to peace, but keep them.